Welcome to episode 3 of Foundation, Farms and Fishing. That's right, in today's episode we will be dealing with putting in a farm and all of its associated buildings and also a fishing place so that we have two new types of food. Okay, so here is a wheat farm. And we've put that down, and what we will do over the course of this, it's about 24-25 minutes this episode, so stick around. We also want to put in a windmill because that grinds our wheat into flour, and then the third building that we will need is going to be a bakery to make our bread. Okay, we cannot build. Okay, so we don't have enough coins at the moment. Luckily, as in the previous video, I got us into a profitable position where we are making coin. It's just a case of we're going to have to wait. So let's cancel this. There we go, destroy building. Yep, and destroy. And what we'll do is we'll get this built. Let's speed up time. And hopefully our revenue will increase, and then we'll be able to put down the windmill, we'll get enough coin, then we'll put down the bakery, and as we get more revenue, then we can do research for fishing and put down our fishing spot before the end of the episode. So we've got our little residential area, we've got our church, we've got our working area, we've got our market, everything is going quite well. Our happiness is currently sitting at 83%. As well, which is a good level to be sat at, so everything is doing not too bad. So again, what I was doing there was looking at desirability and zoning just to see. What we will also do over the course of the episode today is put down some decorative items which improve the desirability of an area. Now, when it comes to the farm, the other important thing is to paint a big enough field that we get enough wheat for making our bread. So you will see that as well over the course of the episode. Now, we have no tools at the moment. We do have the arrangement with the nearby town for the trade for tools, which we put in the last episode. Our stonemason is working away on making polished stone blocks. We now have 7 of those. We've just slipped, you'll see, to -1 at the top of the screen under coins, which is because we are constructing our farm. So our income stream has gone negative, but it will go positive again once the building has been complete, and we will then earn more money and build, as I said, the windmill and our bakery. Now, cloth, I've still got that we're buying it, but for some reason we don't have any, even though they do sell cloth for 3 coins. Maybe it's to do with our income at the moment and our coin reserves. Not entirely sure on that one, if I'm being completely honest. We've requested the trade and yet we're not getting the items. Now, I hope that isn't the case when it comes to everything else that we're asking for, because of course we're also asking for tools. And then Davenport underneath, which requires 20 bread, we will get that unlocked as well before the end of this episode. So quite a busy episode in gameplay and what we need to be doing to progress the development of our village, turning it into more of a town. So here we go, we've got paint crop field, which is the option under our wheat farm. And what you want to then do is you can roll your mouse wheel to increase or decrease the size of the circle. And I'm going to make a massive plot on this fertile land. So let's drag this over. Well, that little wheat farm box is in the way, but let's increase the size. So we do want a big wheat field. Now we can reduce the size of the circle and then fill out the areas that we've missed. Well, this is all the way up to the water's edge, which of course we know they're not going to plant in the water, but again, we've made it quite a big area, which then dictates where we put other buildings as well. I think that's probably big enough. Let's delete out some of it. So right mouse click instead of left mouse click, and that removes some of it. That's quite a big area, I think. So let's add some farmers, because we've still got, how many people have we got who are jobless now? So I think we have 2 people that currently aren't working. Next thing we need to do is go to the granary and change storage to wheat so that we can store it once it's been harvested. And later we will also need to build another granary, of course. Okay, so everything is there. Desirability is looking good for where our residential buildings are, but again, as you can see, that house right at the top there behind the church is probably in a low desirability area. So I've just skipped forwards again, and we've just reached the notable tier for labour. So we've now unlocked a whole new load of options. So a tavern, that would be good. We're not going to do it straight away. Then some tavern wall, milling taxes. So that will enable taxes on windmills. We haven't built it yet. Fair reputation, so again it's a privilege. Newcomers ignore the happiness modifiers. Common maintenance, so labour buildings upkeep reduced by 10%. And devoted folks, so labour and clergy, mutual splendour, negative impact is reduced by 50%. So that means if we're doing labour and clergy, it would reduce the negative impact of having two of the factions. But as I've said before, we're going to focus on labour. I've noticed on watching other content on YouTube, a lot of people go with clergy purely because you can build a big monastic, what's the word for it, a monastic monastery. Because it's a big building and it's early in the game. But again, I feel that labour is a better option as an overall balanced option as you progress through the game. But there's nothing stopping you from having 3 different saves and doing each and trying it out for yourselves. So now we want our windmill. Let's rotate it into a position that looks nice, deciding which way to face it, and then put it at the top of the crop field where we left that little gap. And there we go. We now have enough coins because we were up to 200, so we can build it. Lovely stuff. And you can see we were at +9 and it suddenly dropped to +1 at the top of the screen because we're constructing. That is fine. We've managed to remain positive. Now, something else we may need is another builder's workshop. So I think we're going to add it to the existing one. So you can see where that little red dot is. We've closed off one of the entrances, but it's fine. And add another one. They kind of naturally sit next to each other and connect to each other, which is quite cool. So there we go. We now have a maximum of 6 builders, whereas previously we had a maximum of 3. So we've now got additional people to trot around the village to build our buildings. No access to food. Interesting update there. Well, we are going to have new types of food soon, so that's fine. We've got some missing resources, which is tools, but hopefully we'll get another delivery of those. But let's skip forwards. Okay, so second granary, we're going to put it near our first granary, just so we've got extra storage, but not going to build it right now. So this one here, we've got wheat, double berries, so what we could do is change that to flour. So we've now got storage for berries, flour, fish and wheat, but of course we don't have storage for bread, so we will need an additional granary to store those items. Now again, the farmers are there, the crop has grown and out they go, they're cutting it down. So they're cutting down the wheat. Let's put a second miller in because we still have one person who doesn't have a job, so that's fine. And our population is now up to 41 as well, so we're doing well. As you can see, they're out harvesting the wheat, which will then get collected. You can see that little person run into the building, and they're taking the flour to the mill, the wheat to the mill to turn it into flour. And of course the third building that we need to complete that production cycle is a bakery, so that you turn the flour into bread. And of course you need to be near water as well. So it needs flour and water, and that turns it into bread. Nice and simple. So bakery is the last building. Needs 20 tools, so it's quite labour intensive. But again, we'll get it built. And of course then unlock fishing, so our little villagers have quite a good diet of berries, bread and fish. And obviously as this series, oh here we go, here's the additional taxation. So let's tax windmills, might as well, gives us a bit of extra income, so let's tax windmills. And as I was saying, as the series will progress, you will see as the options unlock for all of the different additional things as our town expands. I'm going to say town now rather than village because we are at a population of 44. And this is about promoting villagers. We're not going to do that yet because more than anything else, there is an achievement for only having serfs. So as soon as you promote someone, you will not get that achievement if you've got a village with anyone who's been promoted. But for now, we're going to continue on my own, and citizens obviously provide the village with more stuff, but they also have higher levels of desires and requirements to keep them happy. So let's stick with serfs for now, and let's have a look at our progression. And what we want to do is do maybe the common maintenance privilege, but milling taxes we need to unlock first. because we've agreed to do it, and then we can enact milling taxes. So taxes, turn it on, and there we go, advice followed. So that has now been done. So you need to unlock the option, then turn it on, and then you've completed what you needed to do. Okay, so we've skipped forwards again, now that we have nearly enough to build the bakery, and of course we need to also decide where we want to put it. Our farm and our mill are right next to each other, so do we put the bakery nearby, or do we find it a nice little plop in the village somewhere and put it down? Good question. I think it would look good. Oh, where are we going to put it? I think over here maybe. It might actually naturally slot into here, and what it will do is the pathing, so the routes that they take will just change. Oh, we've got a new villager, so let's get them in. We've just lost the option there for the build, so I will bring that back up in a moment. But how's everything going stock wise? We've got 20 flour collected now, we've got 30 wheat. Let's add some transport people, because at the same time we've got the additional unemployed serfs, so we've still got 3 left. So we're just filling out all the job vacancies. That's already at max. And this is something worth paying attention to as well as your population increases, is to go and backfill any missing positions that you didn't have because your population wasn't big enough. Okay, right, back into our village centre. I've skipped forwards again, just so that we get to the point where we're actually going to plop the bakery down. And I decided that it might look fairly good here, so next to the mill, so you literally have a production chain that is right next to each other. So let's get that built. So the wheat goes from the field to the windmill, and then the flour goes from the windmill to the bakery. And also the other thing is, where that bakery is, it's just conveniently located next to the second well that I built, we might need it in the future. And as you've seen, we did, because the well is close to the bakery and it means that they have a nearby source of water. Now we've still got 0 cloth, so whether that is a glitch or a problem, I don't know, but you can see I am requesting 5 cloth. So buy until our inventory reaches 5, but we're still not getting it. I'm buying tools until we get 10. So again, there is cloth. It should be 3 coins. So question mark, question mark, question mark. Don't know why we're not getting it. But what it does mean is when we expand our market, as a prime example, we can't put covered benches in, the covered market stalls, because we don't have any cloth. So we can't make it look nice. Kind of a minor thing, but same time, you know, it is what it is. So up here we have this house behind the church, and we'll have a look in a minute. So if you go to desirability in our territories, we also want to expand, but not yet. So that's going to be 250 coins plus an additional cost of 10 coins a week to unlock. And of course we already have our second territory, which is behind our forest over here. And also this one here has minerals, so potential for mining. So we already own this one here. We could abandon the territory, but this is our village centre, and that has a lot of forest, but it does have some expansion options. So again, worth thinking about in the future. Let's zoom back into our village and go back in, because that bakery is progressing nicely, so that should be completed soon. Again, we've got our residential area, which comes up at the back here. And of course we have our manor buildings, so for the tax office, for the manor house, and for our bailiff. Again, we've got a little bit of space left yet, and we could expand obviously our forest operation. And then my next question is, what do I do? Am I going to build a residential area and start duplicating stuff on the other side, purely for ease of access? I don't know. We'll have to see as the game progresses on where I decide to take everything. But our bakery is done. We've got 2 bakers, so we should start producing bread, which means we can unlock our second trade deal with that town that is underneath the first. But let's have a zoom in and have a look. As you can see, the bakery looks pretty cool. We've got all these little loaves of bread outside and the oven there. So I'm not entirely sure what the building is for if all the work is done outside, but hey, it looks cool. I love the look of and the aesthetics of this game as well. It's just a nice little game. Well, I say little, it's not a little game. There's a lot of options and there's a lot of variety as you go through the game. I just love the detail of it. And all these little people running around as each day and week go by. Now you can change the type of bells in your church until you get a pitch and everything else that you're happy with, and a tempo and everything. It's got a lot of configurability for something as simple as a church bell, which I think is quite cool, just that you have all of those options. So again, just skip forwards again until we get to the decoration part. So we've got this house, as you saw, it had low desirability. So what I'm doing is I'm putting in a couple of bushes to hopefully increase the desirability for that house, just to hopefully cheer people up. So as you can see, desirability low. Even though it's in green, it's clearly at the edge of the green, which is why it's not quite as desirable. So hopefully, as I said, those couple of bushes are going to cheer the people up in the house. If not, we can always put some more decorative items in and beautify the town a bit. But I really want to do that once we're a bit more further developed rather than now. So we've just slipped below 80% happiness. So currently, let's switch the fish to bread. Now that we are producing bread, because we've got 36 bread, in fact we've now got 40, and that also means we can unlock our next trade deal as well. Lovely stuff. Okay, so again our town is looking nice at the moment. Let's go back. So the market stall, as I said, we've got our berries and bread. Nothing has been delivered yet, but I'm sure it will be in the not too distant future. So food is only -8% now. So our next objective is to get fishing in as well, and then change our market so that we have 3 market benches, because at the moment of course we only have the 2, so 1 for berries and 1 for bread, so we will need a third. Oh, we've got a merchant who's requested an audience. Wood for the elders. The elders are looking to repair a few bridges across the region. And how much do they need? Well, sounds like a good trade. What are we going to get? 100 wood in storage for 100 coins and 10 reputation. Okay, that sounds good. We can immediately complete it, which is down, selling wood to the elders. So just click on it, that completes, the 100 wood disappears, and we got our 100 coins and our 10 reputation with the workforce. Okay, so that's good. We've got an extra 100 coins there. That put us back up to 205, which is going to give us the money to unlock fishing. So if we go to our progression, yes, unlock trade route. Yep, so unlock trade route, 20 bread, and we've unlocked Davenport. So we now have 2 trade options, which is handy. It does unlock and open up a lot more trade options for us, which is very good. And we also now on the common path want to unlock fishing. And then in the next episode we'll unlock clothes making, because then we'll need a sheep farm. But now for food options we have a fisherman's hut. So we currently have invalid positions, but you can see all those little fish jumping around. Where do we want to put it? I think down the end near the farm. So we'll have another little path opening up, and they'll be able to then go fishing from there. I think that's a fairly reasonable location. We don't want to put it in the field itself, so let's put it there and build. There we go. So all it needs is 40 wood, which is handy because we've got loads. So that should get built nice and quickly, and it does mean we finish off this episode with our farming and our fishing and our berries and our town progressing nicely, because our income ratio is now plus 21. So we're doing reasonably well from an income perspective. So when it comes to any city builder, everybody knows that the important thing to get sorted is your income stream. So you're managing income and outflow because you want it to be positive. So we're throwing in another market bench. I'm just going to add some beautification items that I can build because of course we can't add a cloth top because we still don't have any. It's still not coming from our trade route. I have absolutely no idea why. As I said, a bit of a weird one, whether it's a glitch or not, or it's because we need it. I don't know. But hey, whatever. It's not happening. Right, we've got a load of new villagers, so we're now up to a population of 51. So we were at 41, we're now at 51. So our population is continuing to grow, as is our prosperity. Our prosperity is now at 43, again, because of how we're doing everything. And we've got our 2 market tenders, and of course we've got a 3rd market stall that I just put in. So we'll be able to add fish to that once it's constructed. In fact, I think it has been. Is that finished? No, it hasn't got the produce on it yet, so it's not finished. But we do have everything that we need, and as you can see, the crops constantly plant, grow, harvest, plant, grow, harvest. Okay, our fisher is ready, so let's add our fisherman. And of course what that means is we need our next granary, because at the moment we don't have enough storage for food, so we do need to build an additional granary, so we'll get that put in as well. Just have a quick look at our desirability again. It's something that's worth continuously checking to see if the desirability expands. We've expanded the market, but I think something that we may need to do is potentially put another well over in that back corner, just so that water is more accessible. So we'll assign fish to that 3rd market stall. There we go. Warehouse is looking good. And again, we have this, so we've got wheat, fish, flour and berries, but we have no storage for bread. So we do need to build an additional granary. Let's go to the right tab. So granary, where do we want to put it? We'll put it near the first one. Get that put in and build. Shouldn't take too long. And then we can allocate the correct resources. So we've got 2 storage yards. We'll have, in the not too distant future, 2 granaries. And then we have all of our main production buildings. So just checking to see if everything's working, which it is. That's good. And what we could do is change fish to bread, because there is no fish being stored yet. Wait for this granary to finish and then add fish so that we can store everything. Oh, look at the amount of stone we've got. So I think we should probably change that maybe to something else. Let's just go with cloth. We've got 200 stone saved up. We've got 7 polished stone. So that warehouse is being well used, and the other one has got 100 planks, some tools and 2 piles of wood. So we may potentially need another warehouse at some point going forwards, but for now we're okay. Those little farmers running through chopping down all the wheat, and our windmill working furiously to turn that wheat into flour, and the baker going, let's make some bread. So you can see we've now got no berries, but we've got bread in our market, and our happiness is currently at 75%. So again, food minus 12%. Again, that is because they haven't delivered any produce to the market yet, but it's fine. Right, so let's add all of those, so they're all our spare people. So berries, flour. Let's go back and check. So berries, flour. We've got bread and wheat, so we need to add fish to one of those. So let's put them side by side. So what we want there is fish, and then a 4th resource, or just leave it blank for now. Or maybe add some of the resources that you don't yet have. So honey, maybe change this to, I don't know, wine, and have the 4th as whatever this last item is, or double fish. Doesn't really matter, to be honest, because we haven't got those. So we could put herbs. So there we go. So that now covers 8 different resource types. Obviously you have maximum storage, which means you'll then need additional granaries, but for this episode I think we've achieved quite a lot, and I hope this series is helping you. And if this series is helping you and you're enjoying the content, then if you could subscribe, that would be fantastic, because that helps me out. So of course, quid pro quo, so to speak. Although you don't have to, of course. It just helps me out. But until next time, I'm Know-It-All Gaming. All it leaves me to say is my usual ending, which is good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and from me, good night.